Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this particular one, I'll be sharing with you guys how to sew this corset top, which I already drafted out in the previous video that is uploaded on the channel already. So you can see that at my cup area, I went ahead to add half of an inch sewing or stitching allowance, and at the down part of my top, which is the waist part, I added half of an inch, and this is for the back. I went ahead to add half of an inch at both sides, that's the top and the bottom. I went ahead to cut out my lining, my este, and also on my actual fabric. And this is for my cup area. I went ahead to cut out the same thing, and I also went ahead to cut out a wording piece for this. And you can see that for the other pieces, I actually added half of an inch sewing allowance, excluding my wording piece. You can see that it's actually the same with my actual pattern paper, which I drafted already. So here is for the top part of my cup. So that is all that. So I'll just go ahead now to start working with the cups first of all. So I went ahead now to get the two cups, and remember this is a 3-part corset top, and I went ahead to get the two cups, and I'm trying to place my pattern paper on each of them to know exactly which one is going for which one. So you can see what I'm doing here. So after I must have placed this very well, and now I can determine which part is going for which part with the help of the arrow and everything and the numbering. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to bring these two cups together just like this, and I'm going to join at the middle just like this, and I'm going to join, and I'll go ahead and stitch this up using that half of an inch. So I went ahead to pin this up first, and this is exactly how we are going to stitch this using that half of an inch. So I've gone ahead to do that in my sewing machine, and you can see what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to notch this. I'll gently and quietly notch this, and after doing this, I'm just going to open this up like this. I'll bring my tailor's ham, I'll place this on top of it, open up the notch area, and I'm going to spray enough water and iron this out generously and very well, so it gets flat at the point. The reason for this is to avoid all these pointed and pointy stuffs you have on the bra cup whenever you are done. So you can see that I'm actually ironing this very well. So once I'm done, I will go ahead and get my bias strip. I am going to use this bias and cover up that part where I joined these two cups. I hope you understand. So this is how I'm going to do this, and I'll pin this down first, and after pinning this down, I'll go ahead as well to stitch this at both ends. Please make sure and do ensure that you stitch very close at both ends. Okay, so this is it, and I'll go ahead now and stitch this up. So after stitching this, you can see how neat and flat and nice it's already looking, both the inside and all of that. So the next thing I'm going to work with now is for my wording piece. The same way you join these two cups, the same way you're going to join for your wording piece, and you're going to just join this using a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch, whichever one that you are actually conversant and competent with. So I've gone ahead to do this now, and you can see how it came out. The next thing I'm going to do is to actually attach this my wording to my actual fabric. So this is just it, and I'm going to okay, you know a wording has a shiny part, right? So the shiny part should actually be on your fabric. I hope you understand. So that shiny part is actually the gummy area which sticks and glue to your fabric. So after doing this, it's automatically going to stick to your actual fabric. Okay, so I got the top part of my cup, and I went ahead to join this, but please mind you, do not forget also cut out the lining, the wording for your upper part of your cup. Okay, so you're going to pin like this after that, and you're going to stitch as well. So please don't forget to draft out the wording for the upper part of your cup. Okay, so after this, now I've joined this, the next thing I'll go to do is to use my bias strip to also cover up that part where I joined the upper part of my cup to the down part of my cup. Okay, so I'm going to pin this down, and I'll go ahead at both edges. I'm just going to stitch and give this a very nice pressing. So after I was done with this, now I got my cup, which is 2 times bigger than my actual butt size, and I went ahead to make this fitting properly. And after that, I went ahead to use my hemming gum to actually iron this cup on this my actual piece. I hope you understand. So the essence of this hemming gum is that you're actually going to end up achieving a very neat and nice finishing without having to sew or stitch this bra cup to your piece or your fabric. I hope you understand. So just make use of your hemming gum to do this. Make sure you place your bra cups into your you understand what I mean. Sorry, I don't really know, but just make sure it fits perfectly into your cup, and spray water, spray water, spray water. Make sure you iron this generously and very, very well. So iron this so perfectly, and trust me, you are going to have a neat finishing. You don't need to bother about using your needle or your thread or anything to mark out this point. Your hemming gum is going to take care of all of that. Okay, so I went ahead to really, really, really give this a very, very deep and nice ironing. So I actually spent time ironing this, trust me. And after ironing this is what I have. So there is nothing on earth that can separate this my bra cup from this my actual piece. I hope you understand. So this is just it, and we are almost good to go with this. So you can see how nice and pointy and fine is already looking, and full as well, and strong. So sorry, I went over to my actual dress, which I already drafted already, and I went ahead to mark out the middle point in between these two parts. And I'm actually going to create a boning casing for my bonings using this bias strip. Okay, so I'm making use of this black bias strip because I couldn't get a blue thread, which I showed you earlier in the drafting part of this tutorial, so I had to switch to black bias. So after that, you're going to pin your bias on the parts where you want your boning to pass through, and that is just what I did there. So I'm just trying to trace out exactly where I want my other bias strips to be, and mind you that there is no particular rule to actually creating a boning case for your boning. Do whatever design that pleases you, do whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, and any style at all. So I went ahead to also do the same for my back part. I marked 2 inches, and from that 2 inches I went ahead to mark another 4 inches. This is just coming from my brain. There is no actual rule to this, so long as you are actually happy with the outcome of what you have. Okay, so after doing this, you're going to pin this right down. So I went ahead now to stitch all of these very carefully, and I went ahead to attach one side of my bra cup to my dress, but I'm going to show you how to actually do this. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure you indicate the part where it's meant to be at the center, which is that part where your cup size is always written. I hope you understand. So make sure that it's actually at the center part, and you're just going to go ahead to pin this up like this from the center all the way to the sides of your dress. So just do this carefully, and you're going to achieve a very neat work. So after pinning, this is actually what I have, and you can see that I'm actually progressing with the making of this top. So now you can see that the pins are still there. I've not gone ahead to stitch, so I'll go ahead and join the same way I joined for my actual piece. I'll do the same thing for my lining. So now here it is. I've gone ahead to join that using my sewing machine, and I removed those pins. So the next thing I want to go ahead now to do is to pass through my boning casing. So I just went ahead to measure what I have, and mind you, please, you're going to leave 1/2 inch at the top and 1/2 inch below your boning casing. Okay, it's not actually going to stop exactly where your bias strip stopped, so it doesn't at the end of the day, it doesn't get pointing out of your dress. I hope you understand. So I went ahead to leave at least 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom, and after doing this, I went ahead to pass my boning through my boning casing, and you can see that I'm actually and seriously forcing this to enter because my bias strip was kind of not accommodating my boning very well. So after doing this, you're going to notice that this actually came up, is not flat or anything. There is nothing to worry about, honestly. Just go ahead and iron this generously and very, very well, and that is all you need to do, and it will get flat. So the next thing I'll do is to get this my piece which is left. I'm going to cut out a long I'm just going to cut out a long piece just like this. You can measure maybe 1 inch or so. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this like this. I'm showing you right here in this video. And after stitching this, I'm going to cut out 2 of these long ropes. One will be for my loops and one will be for my rope for tying this at the back. I hope you understand what I mean. So this is actually how you're going to stitch this in neatly, but you can also make use of your bias strip if you wish. So now I'm trying to explain here how I actually cut out 2 inches from my back piece when I was drafting this top. So now the next thing I want to go ahead to do now is to cut out for my modesty panel. So you're just going to get the back part of your dress. You're going to measure what you have and subtract 1 inch from that. I hope you understand what I mean. So you're going to subtract 1 inch from that. I'll go ahead and fold this piece I have into 2, and I'll go ahead and cut out exactly I'm going ahead to cut out the length of my back dress, but I'm going to subtract 1 inch from it because it's actually going to be shorter than my back dress. I hope you understand. So this is it, and I'm actually also going to attach my hard interfacing to this. And so for the width of this my modesty panel, I went ahead to mark 8 inches. Remember that when I was drafting, I cut out 2 inches. Opening it up is 4 inches, so I added extra 4 inches to this. I hope you understand. So I went ahead to bring my hard interfacing. I'm going to cut out exactly what I have on this already piece I cut out. I'm going to cut out exactly the same thing for this my hard interfacing. So I'm going to make sure that they are equal. Please don't forget to add your hard interfacing because it will actually make it stand strong and firm. Hope you understand what I mean. So by the time this actually fits, go ahead and iron the shiny part actually to your fabric. So this is what I went ahead to do right here. And after doing this, I'm just going to turn this right sides facing each other, and I'm going to stitch all of these parts, leaving one side actually. So this is it, and you can see that there is 1/2 inch space at the top and the bottom of my modesty panel on my actual fabric. So this is the rope which I showed you earlier on I was going to stitch. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark where I'm going to place all my loops. So from the top, I went ahead to mark 1/2 inch space, and I went ahead to mark 1/2 inch on all of these lines. And for the bottom, there is a 1/2 inch space from the bottom to the where my loop will stop. Just watch closely what I'm doing, you will understand. So the next thing I did here now is to go ahead to cut out 2 inches of these loops of this material actually, which is going to serve as my loops. And I went ahead to place one of the legs or the ends on 1/2 inch, and the next one is going to be exactly on the next 1/2 inch which I marked. I hope you understand. And make sure that the part which is actually open or rough is going inside, like it's facing towards the center of your dress. I hope you understand. So one leg should be on 1/2 inch, another leg should be on the 1/2 inch. So where another leg stopped, the next leg will be starting from there. I hope you understand what I mean. So this is it, and I went ahead to pin this up first. So I'm going to get my modesty panel. Please do ensure that you take note of the width from the length. The length is actually shorter than the back of the dress, so you don't get confused, and the width is usually wider. I have a width of 8 inches here. I hope you understand what I mean. So this is it, and I'm just going to go ahead now to show you that I actually have 1/2 inch space at the top and the bottom of this my top. You get right? So I'll go ahead and place my modesty panel exactly on my fabric like this. You can see. So I'm going to pin this down to my actual fabric, and after pinning this down, and note there is a way you pin down so your machine needle doesn't break. So that is it. So after pinning that down, I'll go ahead and use my lining to cover this up. So you're actually going to pin this down as well, and you're going to stitch exactly like this all the way around, leaving the sides open because you'll be turning out from the sides of this your back dress. So now for the front part, I will go ahead as well to also stitch all the way around using my lining piece. I'm going to stitch all the parts, and I'll only leave one side, just one side of this my dress open. So this is all I'm going to do for this because we're doing a total turn up. So I've done this, and you can see this is actually what it looks like. So the next thing I'll go ahead now to do is to nudge all of these parts, you can see, and after nudging it, I'll just keep this aside. I got back my back panel, and you can see that the sides is the only part that is open, and I went ahead to turn this over to the front side, and that back part which is open, I'm just going to stitch it in using 1/4 of an inch. So this is the other side, and you can see how nicely is already looking. So I'll turn this over to the right side of my fabric, and I'm going to place this like this for you to see the actual beauty of this back piece with a Modesty panel. So this is it when you place this facing each other like this, and I'll go ahead to use this rope to actually tie this at the back when I'm done. So now for the front part, from that side which I told you to leave open, I'm going to turn this all the way out just like this. You can see what I am doing. I'm going to turn this all the way out and give this a very nice, sweet, generous pressing for it to be flat, sweet, and beautiful. So I'll go ahead and also stitch that part using 1/4 of an inch. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to join my front part and my back bodies together using 1.5-inch allowance, which I gave when I was drafting this dress. So do note that your Modesty panels to be at the center and at the top of these your two back panels. I hope you understand what I mean. So just like this, I'm going to join this together using 1.5 inches. I've done this, and this is what I have, and this is what my dress looks like. And yeah, we almost there. Yeah. So this is it. So now I'll go ahead and cut out a piece because I want to work for the sleeve now. And honestly, I didn't really measure this piece, but you can go ahead and measure yours. And for the top, I'm going to fold in at least 1 inch, just like this I'm showing you right here, and you run a straight stitch across. So when you are done doing stitching that, get your elastic and get a safety pin, and you're going to pass this through that hole which you made, just like this. I think I have a tutorial on how to actually stitch or sew or cut a balloon sleeve, because it's actually a balloon sleeve that I'm using for this dress. So you're going to pass this through to the end, and for the other end you're going to secure this and pin this down so it doesn't just escape through the other part and have you starting all over again. So use your pin and pin this down to the other end of your fabric, and you go ahead to feel free and pull this the way you wish. I hope you understand what I mean. So you're going to pull this through, and once you are done pulling this through to your satisfaction, but don't make it too tight please, you're going to go ahead and stitch and secure this elastic at both ends. Okay, so you do this to the upper part and the down part and all sides of the sleeve. So this is what yours is meant to look like, absolutely, if you actually got it. So the next thing I'll go ahead now is to attach this sleeve. Go ahead to attach this sleeve to my dress now. So from that part where I joined, like from the front and the back panel, I'm not starting from there. I'm actually starting from the point where my cup actually stopped. Okay, so I just came in by at least 1/2 inch, and you're just going to pin this down up to the point where you have this joining for the front bodies and the back bodies. I hope you can understand my explanation here. So you're going to stop exactly at that point, and you're going to pin this down. So after this, you flip this to the back part. You're actually going to follow that same procedure, because I don't really want this to be at the side. I want it to be on top of my shoulder. And so that is all. I'll show you the actual outcome of this dress. So this is it. I don't really know why my camera was actually messing up at this point, but trust me, this dress actually looks finer than it appears on this video. Thank you for watching. If you've come this far watching me, please, I urge you to subscribe, comment, share, and like. And thank you to all my subscribers. Trust me, you'll never ever regret subscribing to this channel. I wore this to church, and this is what it looks like. So see you next time on the same channel. Bye.